There you go.
Awesome, mate.
Right,
Thank you very much.
I will be here. I'm not gone. But I'm gonna check out for a little bit. I will be monitoring the stream in the background.
Yeah, no worries, buddy. Thank you very much for
No
setting us
bother.
up.
Right.
You have a good morning,
See you
mate.
soon. Enjoy, everyone.
See you later on, buddy. Ta-ra. Good morning, everybody. Sorry about that. Just a little bit of a handover there. Good morning, and either welcome back if you've seen any of the stuff that we've done over the last, any of the stuff we've done online over the last year, 18 months now, really. Or welcome to Media Savvy if this is the first course that you're doing with us. Absolutely awesome to have you on board. Of course, today is the first session of our pre-employability and well-being course. So we're going to be looking at a lot of skills that are involved in not just stuff that would help us out and about, maybe potentially in a workplace, but ways that we can actually like look after ourselves as well and take care of ourselves, which I don't think has ever been as important or has ever been more important than it has been over the last 18 months. Certainly not in my memory. We've had a lot of responsibility to look after our own food, make sure we're exercising because of course, as you know, there's been restrictions in place and it's been a little bit of a strange old time, hasn't it? So the way that it seems to be going recently, we tend to be in one or two boats, or one out of two boats. Sorry, should I say? We tend to either be, we've had our eye on our fitness and our food, and try to keep on top of things through lockdown. We're maybe easing back into some other stuff now, or maybe other stuff's taken priority through the pandemic. Through, like I say, through the last 18 months or so, we've had, of course, our sort of health to worry about in a totally different regard. Of course, supporting people around us. Of course, there's been financial and sort of economic stresses and struggles as well. So, like I say, maybe it's just now start to sort of settle down a little bit. Hopefully, we're all having access to vaccinations if we want them, and we can sort of slowly move back toward a little bit of normal. So maybe you're in the other boat. Maybe now you're thinking to yourself, do you know what? The last 18 months has been crazy. But now's the time for me to start thinking about, okay, I'm going to take control of things a little bit more. I'm going to get back on top of my food. I'm going to think about my exercise. It might have been 2 years since you've exercised regularly or really thought about your diet. Maybe it's not anything that you've ever really done. And of course, we're all here to learn together. And like I say, we're going to be looking at a lot of basics. And the first thing that we're going to jump in and look at today is going to be healthy eating and food labels. There's this whole saying that you can't out-train a bad diet. If you're not eating right, you can do all the exercise in the world, and it can still sort of catch up with you. So it's moderation. It's everything in moderation. What's a good food? What's a bad food? What does a good food and a bad food even mean? Do you know what I mean? Is it as black and white as that, or is it a little bit of a spectrum? So yeah, we're going to have a little bit of a dive into that. But I think also with food labels specifically, being able to pick up a food label in the shop and being able to pick out, okay, this is something that I want to put in my body or in my kid's body, or in my partner's body, or at the same time, you might be looking at it and saying, okay, this is something that, it's going to be it's going to help you make an informed choice, isn't it? Whether it's something that you want to take home or put in your basket and take through the till with you, or put it back on the shelf and say, look, this isn't in line with my fitness goals. Maybe thinking about, there's a lot of different fitness goals out there. Maybe you've got a particular one in mind. Maybe you just joined up with the course as a little bit of something to keep you busy and maybe pick up a couple of little new skills and stuff like that as well. So, like I say, there's a little bit of something for everybody, but I do feel as though food labels are an absolute minefield when it's out and about, and I think certainly given that we seem to be having sort of supply chain issues with certain foods and certain products and stuff like that, there may well come a time that the food that you're used to eating, you go to the shops and you expect it to be there and it's just not on the shelves, and you've got to pick up a new, potentially, you've got to find a substitute. You've either got to find the same thing but a different brand, or you've got to go with a totally different food altogether. But there and then in the moment, it'd be nice to be able to make a decision. Okay, there's quite a lot of sugar in this. I'm maybe he's going to have it, but I'm going to make sure that I don't have much sugar in the other meals around it. So again, when it comes to our food and our healthy eating, it's not about eliminating everything that you enjoy, because I've always said, what's the point in training and exercising and eating to feel good and be happy, and then deprive ourselves of all the stuff that we actually enjoy doing? So the aim of this isn't to demonize cookies and cakes and sugars and stuff like that, because let's be honest, most of us, everybody likes a little bit of a treat from time to time. It could be more savory, it might be crisp, it might be takeaway, it could be, it could be the chocolate bars and the sweets. And if we know what's in them, we can start to understand how to fit them into our diet. I guess, like I say, realizing how much sugar's in something means, okay, I'll maybe ease off the sugar for the next day or two. But that is something that we can get into in just a little short while. So what I did actually want to do, just to start us off, guys, even just take 5 minutes or so, we're going to look at this slide here. So what we've got 17 words, and we've got like a little word jumble to do. So in each of those is a word to do with food or healthy eating or our diet or something like that. So we'll spend 5 minutes or so, and we will, and then I'll just run through, tell you what they are, and just give you a little bit of information kind of about each, because it might be a word that you've heard of before, might be something you've never heard of before, might be something you have heard before but don't really know what it means. So yeah, just like I say, we'll give it 5 minutes, 5 minutes here. And then if, as I go to start working through the answers, if you want a little bit more time just to get a couple of the ones that you haven't managed to get yet, pause it there and just catch up with us later. There's no problem with that at all. Of course, if you're watching this video back later on in the week, then you can do exactly that, pause it there, and then just watch the rest of the video when you're ready. So yeah, guys, we've got 17 in there. Some of them are, like I say, probably a little bit more familiar to you than others. But yeah, we'll just have a few minutes or so, because like I say, there's so much information out there when it comes to food and diet and eating healthy and all of that. It's really easy to get sort of overwhelmed, I would say. And I know that was definitely something that I experienced before sort of doing my qualifications and sort of coming to understand things to the point that I do now. It can be really overwhelming, especially as, we're getting influencers on social media that are going to tell you what to eat, but that's really because they're getting paid to promote something, whereas, you look at them and say, okay, I'd like to look at them, I'm going to eat this thing that they're recommending because they must eat loads of it, and it's not that easy. If one food plan worked for everybody would just be on the same food plan. I guess at the end of the days, it's personal training for a reason. When it comes to your exercise, the training needs to be specific for you, and your diet is exactly the same. I've seen people over the years look in sort of like a Men's Health magazine, see the Rock's diet, and say, you know what, I'm gonna try that diet, and that's like 4,000 calories for somebody who might be about the same weight as I am. Do you know what I mean? About someone who really needs probably about 2,000, 2,500 to be in a little bit of a surplus and to put the muscle on. So for sort of Joe Public to look at an athlete's diet or an athlete's training plan and say, I'm going to go and do that, it sort of shows that there's not a great deal of understanding how things do need to be personalized to us, and some of the things that come into play with that. And that's something that we can discuss throughout the morning as well. I guess, thinking about different body types. One particular body type might process carbohydrates a little bit better, whereas some body types eat carbohydrates and then really easily sort of turn it to fat and store it as fat. So yeah, we all need different things, and of course we all like different foods as well. I know I've had people in the gym over the years, clients and stuff like that, say, Rob, will you do me a food plan? And I've done it. I've gone away and worked out in specific detail. Okay, I'm going to get you this much protein at breakfast. We're going to get this many calories at dinner. What foods make that up? So I'm telling them specifically what to eat. You spend all weekend on that. You go on Monday and say, right, there you go. Your next meal is going to be sort of a chicken and cheese omelette with a bit of tomato and lettuce on the side or something. And they turn around and say, I don't eat eggs. So I'm like, okay then. So all of those eggs I've put on your food plan, we can write off. So really, like I say, it's about finding out what specifically works for you. We can still get that protein from elsewhere. So again, if we can find stuff that you enjoy eating that's going to do the same thing, happy days. It's a little bit easier to stick to, because I could write you a food plan or a diet, and at the end of the day, you might stick to it for like a day or two, maybe it's a week. But sooner or later, it's going to get too much. It's too different to what you're used to. And eventually it'll sort of fizzle out, and you'll just go back to your old habits, really, I guess. And that's not like oh, that's a bad habit sort of thing. That's just sort of the way that I'll refer to it, in the sense of sort of our eating habits, be them good or bad. You know, just the way that we see food and our relationship with food, I guess. You know, so of course, if you go back to eating how you used to, you go back to looking how you used to. You know, so if you've made a lot of effort to make a lot of changed up your food, it's important not to let that slip. You know what I mean? So we've got to really make little small adjustments. That's how I've always done it. Make small adjustments to what you're used to. Make your current diet a little bit better, a day at a time, a week at a time, however slow you need to do it. But you're making those small changes. Like if you pick up a new eating habit every week, you know, like, oh, this week I'm going to make sure that I get some protein with each meal, or I'm going to make sure I get some veg with each meal, or something like that. If you do that for a year, it's little small changes. But within a year, you've got 52 different habits. That's a different lifestyle. You're eating in a totally different way, and your relationship with food's totally different. But it's not shoving you in at the deep end. It's not, right, okay, this is what things need to look like in the end. Let's just try and jump straight to the end, you know. A lot of it is about the journey, because of course you're learning about food and you're learning about yourself on the way as well, I guess. You know, so yeah, there's a lot to be said for making your own diet very sort of specific to you. And I guess just in the name of clarity a little bit, just to clear things up before we do move on and start working through these, when I use the word diet, I'm not referring to some kind of fad eating trend. Do you know what I mean? It's not a diet like your keto or your paleo or whatever it might be, you know. And it's not your Atkins diet. It's not your Slimming World. It's not your Weight Watchers. Everybody is on a diet. Everybody has a diet, and your diet is just what your food intake looks like right now, you know, which is why some diets can be really good, some of them not so much, you know. But yeah, we do all have a diet. So when I'm referring to diet, I'm not referring to something that's temporary, because that's kind of the opposite what we're going for. Temporary change means temporary result, really. So, you know, you lose a load of weight or put a load of muscle on, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Like I say, you do that for 6 months. Like I say, if you go back to the way that you used to eat, you will lose all of those sort of results that you've got for yourself. So definitely something to think about there. But yeah, just being aware when I'm mentioning the word diet, that is just whatever your food intake looks like right now. Yeah. Okay, guys. So we'll just start having a slow little work through these then, guys. And like I say, if you do want to pause it there, by all means do, you know, and just catch up afterwards. If you are watching along live in the chat and you feel as though you've got one or two, shout them out, chuck them in the chat. You know, and in fact, just before we do spin on, I will just mention, so in the description below the video today, you should have pretty much all the information that you're going to need for either today's session or for the course going forwards. And of course, it'll be the same case for each future session as well. So in that little link under the drop down box or the drop down arrow, you'll have a survey. So guys, the surveys do need filling in, but it's not even 30 seconds, guys, to be fair. It helps us fill in your paperwork on this end, saves you doing a lot of paperwork as well. And of course, your feedback's important to us as well. We like to know what we're doing well, and of course, where we can be sort of suiting and meeting you guys even more, you know. My email address is in there as well. So if there's ever a reason that you feel like you do need to reach out to me, get in touch, ask any questions or whatever, by all means, drop me an email or get in touch with any of the other guys at Media Savvy, and of course they'll come through to me as well. And at the end of each video, guys, at the end of each session, I'm going to be attaching a fitness video. So it's a different fitness video each week, and it's just a little bit of something we can all do together to get moving. Of course, you can pause it at the end of the session and maybe clear yourself a little bit of space if you need to. That's what I used to do. You know, when I was putting them and when I was sort of filming them and putting them together. Yeah, so today's video is just going to be a nice little stretching video, because I know full well a lot of us maybe haven't moved as much as we normally would over the last 18 months, myself included. You know, I've gone from running around the gym floor to sitting on the laptop most of the day, being on the couch or being at the desk or whatever it might be, So just thinking about that as well. Like I say, we have been moving around probably a lot less. So each session is going to have its own little fitness video that links in with what we've been talking about to an extent. So if you get to the end of the day session and you think, I don't really fancy a little stretching video, I've been quite active through lockdown, follow the link still, and it'll take you to our YouTube channel, and that's got 8 or 9 different workouts on there that you can just pick from at any point that you want. You can come at your own time during the week or on a weekend if you want and say, look, I'm going to do Rob's ab session. I'm going to do his upper and lower body session, whatever it might be. There's, again, something on there for everybody. And I always try and make sure that there's an alternative for each exercise as well. So if you start to do, you do a squat and your knee doesn't like it, and you think, okay, that's maybe not for me, you can maybe change things around and do whatever the other exercise is that I'll be demonstrating as well. So like I say, something for everybody, no reason now why we can't start off today, get moving again if it's been a while, and then, keep moving at least once a week if we can just pick a different video, and work our way through them. And of course, as always, let me know how you're getting on with those, because I love a little bit of feedback on those, especially not being in the gym these days and not actually delivering any sessions per se, really. So yeah, a little bit of something to look out for at the end of the session. Fitness video coming your way, and like I say, today is just a nice little stretch just to get everybody moving again after a hitty miss, uppy downy 18 months, should we say. Okay, guys, right. That was about everything that I wanted to cover through there. Of course, in that same section underneath the video in the description, we've got all the learner info as well that you might need, a learner handbook, anything to do with e-safety, learning safely online, what to do if you've got sort of like an issue with anything or a concern. So yeah, all of that information's in there. So by all means, check it out. And of course, links to all of our social media pages as well. If you do want to sort of jump on, keep an eye on what we're up to, keep your ear to the ground, finger on the pulse for any sort of future courses that might be coming up, or certainly any sort of face-to-face stuff that might be going on, because we've got all sorts of exciting stuff sort of coming up this year as well. So yeah, definitely stay tuned and keep your eye on the social medias for that as well. Right, guys, so let's just start working our way slowly through these. Like I say, all to do with food, and at the same time, like I say, going into just a little bit about them, I guess, so we've come away with a little bit more of an understanding. So the first one, maybe you got it, maybe you didn't. The first one, bit of a longer one, is carbohydrate. Yeah, so carbohydrate, the old no carbs before marbs. I think carbohydrates have been quite, again, sort of, they get a bad rep. Carbohydrates get a bad rep, same as fat, to be fair, because both of these things have a role in our diet, and our body would really struggle without them. So of course, in the media, in the papers, all of that sort of thing, we see plenty of reason to be sort of scared of carbohydrates and fats and stuff like that, but we do need them. So carbohydrates, guys, is essentially what our body uses for energy. So our body will take in carbohydrates, and those carbohydrates will be kind of, so you've got like your grains, you've got like your rice, pasta, bread, of course, anything like wraps and stuff like that. Then you've got your fruit, and your veg as well are carbohydrates as well. So again, don't be scared of carbohydrates, because fruit and veg are in there as carbs as well, and we do need them. It's just a case of how many carbs do we have, when do we need them, why do we need them, maybe even how fast do they kick in. And of course, with carbohydrates, I think the biggest thing is thinking about when you're having them. If your body uses them for energy, maybe you've seen like somebody who's doing a run the next day, they might load up on pasta or something the night before, so they've got plenty of carbohydrates in their system. Whereas waking up first thing on the morning and eating a load of pasta and then going for the run wouldn't be such a good way to do it, because it can't release the energy fast enough. If you need that faster releasing energy, you might get those little glucose sachets, where you might just sort of squeeze them. You might have seen them in a Great North Run or in a marathon or something like that. So yeah, you can buy them in the shops as well, little sort of glucose packages, just like a syrup sort of thing, like a gel. and that kicks in a lot faster, which is why the runners use them during the race. So understanding that what carbohydrates do, but there's sort of different types of carbs as well to be thinking about. Some kick in really fast, some not so much. But eventually they all get used for energy, or they get stored as fat for future energy when your body runs out, which is kind of what your body's doing when it's storing anything as fat. It's just your body saying, right, if I've had a little bit of a surplus, if my source of food ever runs out and I'm not getting enough every day, I've got these little stores to go from. It's kind of like a squirrel berry, and it's not for after the winter, or through the winter, I guess. So yeah, carbohydrates, we need them. We need the energy. But like I say, that's where you'll have sort of, that's where we get the debate, sort of brown bread against white bread and that sort of thing. But yeah, carbohydrates our body uses for energy at the end of the day. Number two, we've got protein. So probably one that you've come across before. I know it's all the rage. It's a big buzz topic in like sort of in the gyms, in fitness circles, stuff like that. Social media as well, trying to sort of force protein down your neck. Now protein is it's a funny one, protein, because for all the sort of glory that it gets in culture and society and stuff like that, protein is probably one of the things that we're most deficient of in our diet. And I don't know if it's just the fact that, your sources of protein, your chicken, your meats, your fish, sometimes even your beans, your lentils and stuff like that, tend to be a little bit more expensive, So I guess kind of coming from rations and through wartime and stuff like that, protein kind of has been a little bit of a luxury. A lot of us have been able to grow tatties in the garden, or tomatoes in the garden, or whatever it might be. Carrots, I know my granddad did growing up. But getting your hands on protein tends to cost a little bit more. So like I say, within bodybuilders and people who are exercising and lifting weights regularly, they're aiming to get as much protein as possible. But you find that a lot of us, sort of Joe Public, Jane Doe, don't get enough protein. So protein is essentially your body's, or what your body uses to repair itself. All the little building blocks of your body, all the little bricks that make up your body. Your cells, your skin, your hair, whatever it might be. Your muscle, of course, as well. Your organs need protein to repair themselves, no matter what we're doing. Of course, over time, be it lifestyle choices, dietary, or even just wear and tear with time, our body cells sort of break down and they need to repair and sort of come back stronger. And your body uses protein to do that. So if you could lift weights all week long, and if you weren't getting enough protein for that recovery process and to rebuild the muscles, you're never going to see results. So you've got to make sure that we're getting enough protein in there as well. It's not just about building muscle, like I say, it's about sort of organ function, brain, like I say, your skin, your hair, all of that sort of thing. Your body needs protein. Yeah. So like I say, we need our protein. And like I say, a lot of us, when I'll analyze a new client's diet for the first time, I'll tend to say to them, look, just go away and write down what you normally eat so I can get an idea of what your body's used to. I don't necessarily need to tell you what to go away and eat right now, because I don't know what your body's used to eating. So I don't know what is too big a jump or what is the right size jump. So tell me what you're eating right now, and I'll have a look at it and I'll make a little tweak and see what's the first thing. Same again, baby steps, one thing at a time. What's the first thing that we need to deal with? What's the first thing that we need to address? And a lot of the time, specifically in women, it's protein, just not getting enough protein. Do you think you might get up and have like a bowl of cereal or a cereal bar on your way out the door? More on those cereal bars later. But you just get up, bowl of cereal, you maybe have like a cheese and tomato sandwich and a packet of crisps for your dinner. Then you get to tea time and you have like a chicken dinner or whatever it might be. That evening meal is it's the first substantial amount of protein that you're actually getting. Really, there's not really much protein in cereal and milk. There's not much protein in bread, a little bit in cheese, and not much in crisps. And like I say, your evening meal in that case would be kind of your first big whack of protein for the day, you know, whereas really we need around about a gram of protein per pound of body weight. And then I just divide that by however many meals you have in a day. So if I worked out, right, I'm 120 pounds in weight, I'm going to aim for 120 grams of protein in the day. I'll split that by 3. What's that? That's 40 grams of protein in each meal. Yeah, so I need to get 40 grams of protein in each meal, which, you know, when you think about it like that, a chicken breast might be 30, maybe, you know, so that's quite a lot of protein after getting one day, and that's not really a substantial weight either, you know. And of course, the more you weigh, the more mass you have to repair yourself. So yeah, a lot of us don't get enough protein day to day, but that's exactly what it is. It is essentially the building blocks and that your body uses to repair itself, like say your cells and all of that. Okay, guys. Sorry. Just finish up on protein, I guess. That is why you'll see a lot of people at the gym come out of the gym and make a protein shake, because you've just exercised, you've torn the muscle fibers, you've tired your body out. It needs to start repairing itself. Get a protein shake, and then your body can start using that protein to do what it's got to do. Yeah, so, you know, maybe you've seen people go crazy over the protein shakes and never really understood why. Hopefully that just gives you a little bit more of an idea as to why there's as much of a market for protein powders and shakes and stuff like that. Okay, guys, number 3, we've got fat. So number 3 is fat, guys. So like I said earlier on, fat gets a really bad rep these days because, like I say, I think people think to have fat is to be fat, and that's not the case at all. Like I say, fat has a couple of really important roles in our body, actually. So fat, first of all, insulation, you know, during the cold months and stuff like that. It protects us and gives our internal organs a little bit of protection and insulation as well. But fat actually helps us not only store vitamins and nutrients and stuff like that, but it actually helps your body absorb them as well. So if you were eating, say, like loads of fruit, loads of veg, getting, I think, vitamin K, for example, if you're eating loads of vitamin K with no fat in your diet, your body can't absorb that vitamin K, so it just passes through, and it's almost like you've never eaten it. You know, it's like you've got to have something in your system that will snag those nutrients on the way past. And for certain things, it's fat; it needs to bind to it. So yeah, fat has, like I say, a couple of different roles. Like I mentioned a second ago when talking about carbohydrates, your body stores fat because it's essentially backup energy. That's exactly what it is. It's backup energy for if you, you know, coming back to survival times from an evolutionary point of view, if we ran out of food or we went hunting and didn't catch anything that day, your body would just pull out of that your stored fat reserves, you know. It's kind of why you'll see animals go crazy during feeding season and then not eat for a long time, maybe, you know, because I think polar bears do that. I think polar bears only, like, they'll eat as much as they can for like a couple of weeks or a month or two, and then of course, as the Arctic landscape changes, they move around, they roam, they go looking for a mate and stuff like that, and food becomes less of a priority because they've got that much stored fat. They don't need to worry about it too much, you know. And that is, like I say, it's your body's little nest egg of, do you know what? If we hit hard times, I've got my savings there. Do you know what I mean? Is it ideal? You know, from survival point of view, yes. You know, would some of us, you know, prefer that not to be the case? Probably. But of course, understanding it is a big key in helping us manage all of these things and manipulate our food in a way that's going to work for us, that we can actually stick to, like I say. So yeah, that's fat, and those 3 are what we call your macronutrients. So your carbs, your protein, and fat are going to make up the majority of all foods that you eat. Yeah. So yeah, being aware of what job each one does can help you decide what you need and at what time. Yeah, like I say, if you're just getting in, or you know, if you're going to bed late, you're having a midnight snack or like a supper, don't make it something that's chock full of sugars and carbohydrates, because your body's not going to use them before you go to bed. You're going to go to sleep, and your body will just say, right, I haven't used them, I'm going to convert them to fat and tuck them off to one side, pretty much. Yeah. Okay, guys. Number four we've got is diet. The word diet itself. Some of you might have picked up on that while I was talking about diet and stuff like that, but that's all that is. Like I mentioned earlier, that is just what your intake of food looks like. That's not necessarily like a temporary diet, because we want the changes that we make, we want to be permanent, really, I guess, or for the foreseeable future. They want to be long-term changes, not short-term changes. So yeah, we stay away from those fad diets. Number five is, of course, food. So food is essentially bringing in calories and energy that we actually need. Which links us in nicely to number six. Number six is energy, and that is all calories are, guys. If you've never come across it before, that is all calorie is. It's a it's a measurement of energy, and it is just how much energy is that food going to give you. So that's all calories are. So it's a case of how much energy do you need. If you're eating more energy than you are going to burn, like I say, that's how you end up putting weight on, because your body stores it. If you're burning more energy than you're eating, you're going to end up losing weight because your body can't keep up. Yeah, you're going to end up in a bit of a deficit. Okay, guys. So that was five and six. Number seven, vegetables. So of course, vegetables. We want to make sure that we're getting our fruit and veg. Of course, we want our five a day if we can. And of course, trying to get a little bit of a mix in there as well, because different veg is going to have different vitamins, different nutrients, and of course, if you're eating the same ones every day, that means that you're not eating the same ones day after day, and you're missing out on those different nutrients and different vitamins as well. So try and get a little bit of a mix in there as you can. But if you're like me, of course, we all have our favorites as well. I like the broccoli, whereas I wouldn't thank you for a bit of cauliflower. But we're all different, which is why if I sit down and write a food plan, it doesn't apply to everybody else. Do you know what I mean? There's no way what I like, you like. So I've had people say to us, well, Rob, what do you eat? And I'm like, well, there you go. They're like, right, that doesn't work for me. I'm like, well, there's a shock, So it's kind of realizing that, but yeah, we want to get plenty of vegetables in, try and find some that you like. And of course, messing around with different seasonings and different flavorings and stuff like that, I think. So yeah, getting a little bit of a mix of those veg in there as well. Meat, it was number 8. So meat, like I sort of mentioned earlier on, is going to be a good source of protein. Of course, if you're vegan, vegetarian, or whatever it is, there's other sources. You've got like your tofu, you can use. You've got beans, of course. Some veg, you've got quite a high protein count. So of course, again, depends on other little things as well. Based on do we have meat in our diet? Do we need our protein from elsewhere? But of course, some meats are going to be a little bit leaner than others. So when we talk about lean, that's just how much fat is in there, I guess. What's the fat content? So a chicken breast has a lot less fat than a ribeye steak, or a hamburger or something like that, So same again, different meats, they're not all the same, but a lot of meat is going to give you a good whack of protein. So yeah, number 8 was meat. Number 9 is dairy. So dairy is one of the food groups that we've got. Of course, you're talking milk, cheese, yogurt, that sort of thing. Really good source of calcium, actually, especially for kids as they're growing up, helping the bones develop. Of course, when we look at the skeleton in a future session, we can sort of understand why calcium is so important, and thinking that we start off as kids with a lot more bones than we actually end up with. Some of them just fuse together as we develop, So yeah, we do need to make sure that we've got calcium in the diet as well for good, strong bones, including your teeth and that as well, because it's teeth and bones at the end of the day. But yeah, one of the food groups, some people are, if you're lactose intolerant, you probably have not such a great time with foods from this sort of food group. Yeah, dairy, like I say, usually quite fatty, because it usually comes from like a milk or cheese or something like that. But nowadays we see, particularly yogurts and stuff like that, you'll see a lot of them that say low fat on the side. Just with those, have a little bit of a look and be aware, and you can use what we're going to learn in today's session to do this. But just keep an eye on the sugar intake, because if something's low in fat, and the flavor's coming from somewhere, so it tends to be, it can very easily be quite high in sugar. I've seen a lot of people over the years buying low-fat yogurts and thinking it's good for you and having 2 or 3 a day, when really it is low in fat, but it's chocker full of sugar as well. So something to think about. And like I say, when we get looking at different food labels and stuff like that today, we'll be able to look at stuff like that in the shop and be able to make sort of informed decisions as well. Okay, 10 is fish. Yeah, so I've already sort of mentioned it in with meat and in with protein and stuff like that, but some fish is a good source of fat as well, because there's good fats and there's bad fats, which is why we're going to have, trans fats, saturated fats, unsaturated fats, if those that you've ever come across. And again, we'll look at those when we're actually looking at the food labels as well. But it's the saturated and the trans fats that we want to stay away from, guys, really. Unsaturated fats aren't too bad. And like I say, a lot of oily fish, be it like salmon and stuff like that, is going to have good fats in there as well. But yeah, good whack of protein as well. I know, is it pescatarians? I think pescatarians will eat fish but not meat. So if you're pescatarian, fish is a good source of protein as well. Any seafood, I guess, you've got your prawns and any of your mollusks and stuff like that as well that you can get away with. Number 11, we had calcium. I just sort of mentioned a second ago, we're getting it from our dairy, good for the bones. Number 12 is salt, or on food labels, you might see it come up as sodium. Yeah, maybe you've seen that before. Salt is, again, something that our body actually needs. It is an electrolyte. It helps our body do a lot of sort of other stuff under the surface, that we won't worry about too much today. And not getting enough salt can actually lead to cramps and like muscle cramps and stuff like that as well. But I guess these days with salt, I guess the biggest problem or the biggest concern is that it's easy to have too much, because the daily amount that we need for the day or recommended for the day is only 6 grams, which is a teaspoon and a half, which isn't a great deal at all. And you might be thinking, okay, I don't add that much salt to my food anyway once it's here. But guys, the amount of food that we buy these days that's coming chock full of salt is a little bit, it's eye-opening, to be honest, when you look at it, because like I say, salt is really good as a preservative, so it makes food last longer. So it's convenient for the consumer that you can buy it and it's got like a week on the shelf before you've got to use it. It's handy for the manufacturer and whoever's transporting it, because it'll last longer. We put a load of sugar and salt into something, we can afford to wait for it to come across from the other side of the world. So yeah, salts are getting used a lot more in food, either as flavorings or preservatives or whatever it might be. And it's very easy to have more salt than we actually need, especially if you're adding salt yourself onto a lot of stuff as well. So we'll get a look at that. What's a lot of salt? What's considered low in salt and stuff like that as well. Okay, guys, number 13. So number 13 is water. So of course, we all need to make sure that we're staying hydrated. We're nigh on 70% water. We can sweat out 2 liters a day, just from not doing a great deal. That's before we're really getting active and getting moving and actually breaking into like a real sweat. So that's why they recommend 2 liters a day minimum, even if you're quite sedentary, if you don't move around very much, if you're working at the desk all day or something like that. We still need to be getting plenty of water. But again, what I say a lot of people do with water, they go from, I only have like a glass a day tops, to all of a sudden they're going to try and drink 2 liters a day. And it's quite a lot, like I say, build it up, go to half a liter, then go to a liter, and then build it up from there. Like I say, give your body a chance to adapt. Otherwise, like I say, you can actually end up feeling pretty sort of, specifically feeling pretty bloated from just having a load of water all at once. But yeah, we need plenty of water. Try and have a glass sort of first thing on the morning, last thing before bed. If we can, it's either sort of on the morning, it can speed your metabolism up and get your body working, kicking into gear. On a night, it's just sort of like a precautionary, right? I'm going to make sure I'm just topping up some of the fluids that I've lost throughout the day, really. But yeah, of course, we all know we need plenty of water, stay hydrated. and all of that jazz as well. So number 14 we had is a food diary. So a little bit of a trick one there. It's actually two words. So food diary you might have used before, you might have seen before. It might be a totally new concept to you. So all it is the idea of writing down your food, what you've had, potentially the calories and the protein and the fats and the carbs as well. So that when you get to the end of the week, maybe you get on the scales, have the weight, has the weight gone up, has it gone down, which direction did you want it to go? And then you can have a look back and maybe say, okay, I didn't get enough calories this day, or I had like the wrong foods this day. I got enough calories, but I didn't get enough protein in because I had a lot of carbs or something like that. So a food diary can be really handy for sort of going back, finding patterns in your food, with your mood as well, I guess. If you're finding that like every day that you're eating bread, you're feeling a little bit lousy, that might indicate like a wheat or a gluten allergy or something like that. Whereas you get to the end of the week and you haven't recorded anything, and you have like a sarnie and you have some bread and you feel rubbish, like you think, oh, that's the fourth time this week, but you don't put in your mind it's every time you're eating bread and stuff like that. So yeah, food diary can be good for a lot of different reasons, and we can do them electronically as well now. We've got stuff like MyFitnessPal and all of that sort of thing that we can use to actually track our food a little bit more accurately as well. Okay, guys, last couple, then we'll move on. So number 15, we had sugar. So of course, we sort of mentioned sugar earlier on. It is essentially just a carbohydrate, and your body's going to break it down into sort of glucose, glycogen, and store it or use it pretty much at the end of the day. So yeah, we need to be thinking about what types of sugars we're getting. So with sugar, like I say, you'll have something like really fast acting, like Jaffa cakes, which is why you'll see footballers use them, right? Have a couple before they run right on the pitch. They'll have a couple of Jaffa cakes, quick little sugar burst. They're not sat there eating sort of like spaghetti bolognese, you know what I mean, to get the pasta in. Like I say, that wouldn't release the energy in time. So different sugars hit us faster. The ones that hit us faster tend to give us that blood sugar spike, and then we come down the other side and crash a little bit, and then we go for something that makes us feel just as good again, which is why it's so easy to eat the wrong stuff all day, because you end up in a little bit of a cycle of you feel good for an hour, then you crash, and then you want something else to make you feel good again, rather than like a slow release that's going to last all day. So yeah, sugar's something to watch out for, and again, sugar is getting more and more sort of abundant in our diet, and really, really easy to have too much of, especially in products that are claiming to be good for you. Looking at new breakfast cereals and orange, sort of even fresh orange juice sometimes. So yeah, being able to have a look and see what's high in sugar, what's not so high in sugar, will be able to help us going forward as well. Using this next one, number 16, grams. Yeah, so that is what stuff's going to be measured in, really. So we've got our everything that you see on the back of a food label will be measured in grams, and that keeps it nice and easy to compare to other foods. So yeah, that's the unit of measurement that we're going to be using, and of course, it's just a unit of weight, really. Okay, guys. The last one, number 17, labels. Yeah, kind of the main focus of today's session. Food labels in particular, because they can be overwhelming, like I say, and they can put a lot of information on there, and it might overwhelm you. At the same time, some manufacturers don't put stuff on that they don't have to, because if they did, it would let you know that the product isn't as healthy as they want you to think it is, or whatever. So we'll get a little bit of a look at an example, because we've got to remember, guys, all the companies, all the food manufacturers, all of the businesses, they want you to buy their product, really, at the end of the day. And they will pull the wool over our eyes if we let them, guys. So we've got to be on the ball. We've got to be always thinking, and we've got to stay one step ahead of them, guys. Okay, cool. So that leads us kind of onto this next slide, which is kind of one to memorize, but we don't need to these days. You can get a picture with your phone. You can, like I say, do the old screen grab and just pull this off somewhere else. I've actually got this printed off on the fridge because it's just so easy to refer foods against. If it comes in, or like if we get the Tesco shop and they've sent a substitute, I can straight away pick it up, right? How does this compare to what I ordered? Is it good? Is it worse? And does it have any place in my fridge at all, or in my diet? Because we know how ridiculous and outlandish some of them substitutions can be at times, guys. Okay, guys, but yeah, this is kind of the key that we're going to use going forward to make certain food choices. And again, it's not to say we always need to pick the healthiest option. It's a balancing act, but we need to understand what we're looking at to know how to juggle these foods in our diet. Because if something's bad for you, but you think it's good for you, because there's nice, pretty green writing and like a picture of a heart on the packaging, if it's obviously misleading, you're then going to think to yourself, okay, I can have these every day. They're really good for you. Whereas if the product was just honest stuff, we knew, okay, they're maybe not that good for us, but they're really tasty. You might only have one every now and then, once a week, and allow yourself as a bit of a treat, So sometimes it can be more harmful to think that something's good for you when it's not really, because you're going to then maybe fall into the habit of having it every day. So like I say, guys, this chart here can be really helpful going forward. So what we've actually got like a traffic light system. So we've got our greens, we've got our sort of our ambers, and then we've got our reds at the top. And that is just our different brackets for what is considered low, medium, and high for these different categories. So we've got sugar, fat, saturated fat, and salt. Yeah. Okay, guys. Okay, so what we've got here, so we've noticed that straight away everything is measured in grams. Yeah. When you pick up a packaging, look at the label, it might say per portion, per serving, per packet, per half pack, whatever it might be. But the one thing that all foods need to have on there, guys, is per 100 grams. So per 100 grams is what we're always going to look at, because this chart only applies per 100 grams, yeah? So in that column that should be on all foods, we can actually just compare it against this chart and say, okay, is it high in sugar? Is it medium in fat? Is it low in salt? And we've got these color systems to help. So maybe you've actually seen this on products. I've actually got a tin of Heinz beans here kicking about. So if you've ever seen something like this before, where we've got the actual colors on the side, I mean, I know that'll be reversed, but it actually tells you straight away, so we can see that the top one, fat, we're green, saturated fats, we were green, sugars were green, and salt were orange. Yeah, so they're all on the side there, green, 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 orange. Yeah, so guys, food for thought. If all products can use this traffic light system, why don't we see these colors on absolutely everything? Yeah, so my takeaway is that these companies, it's usually products that are trying to manufacture themselves and market themselves as being healthy, whereas they're not quite as healthy as we might like to think. Yeah. So what we've actually got, like I say, is sort of like misleading advertising going on, really, I guess. So like I say, if a food chooses not to put these on, I'd be asking to myself, why? Why have they chosen not to put the colors on there? But then we can only figure out what the colors would be by understanding this chart, or for now, just having this chart sort of handy and on standby as well. So what we've got, guys, like I say, per 100 grams is what we want to be looking at, and then we can see what's going on here. So we're actually going to have a look at this in practice, guys. So we've got Kellogg's Fruit and Fiber. Looks like a nice, healthy breakfast choice, doesn't it? Really, like the name, or the name of the cereal is literally two things that we need, that we know is really important in our diet: fruit and fiber. At the top there, we've got, was it high fiber, with whole grain. So straight away, looking extra healthy. We've got fruit on the box. You know, we've got a different mix of fruit. Of course, we've got some like grains there as well, making up like sort of like the little flakes. But I've noticed here, you know, there's no colors. There's no colors. Now, if this was as healthy as they want you to think it is, that should be screaming like green, 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 come and buy me. I'm really healthy. Yeah. Because they know that not everybody knows these brackets and not everybody knows how to make these sort of informed decisions. So what they do, they leave the colors off and they just hope that you'll take the message that they're trying to send through the packaging as gospel rather than questioning it for yourself. So guys, let's put it to the test then. Let's put it to the test. So we're going to start off with, I'll tell you what, we'll do sugar first because it's the first one that we've got here. Yeah. So we need per 100 grams, remember? So this per 40 gram serving column is no good to us right now. Yeah. That's handy to know if you're just having a serving, but look, it's 40 grams. You've got to weigh it out. How many people weigh out cereal? Because I know I don't. So you might think to yourself, oh, I've had a bowl of fruit and fiber. I've had 40 grams. I've had... Oh, actually, sorry about that, guys. So yeah, you might be thinking to yourself, I've had 9.6 grams of sugar, when really you've gone overboard. You haven't weighed it out. You've had 80 grams of sugar, cereal. So really, instead of 9.6 grams of sugar, you've had nearly 20 grams of sugar, yeah, without even knowing it, you know. So yeah, we're going to be over in this column here, per 100 grams, and then we need to just use this to figure out, is it high in this, is it high in that? So this column here, per 100 grams, sugar. So we've got 24 grams of sugar, yeah, per 100 grams, sugar, 24 grams, yeah. We can see from there, sugar, per 100 grams, anything over 15 is considered high, yeah. So fruit and fiber is high in sugar. And if we think about it, what we've got 24 grams, and it takes 15, and we're nearly double. We're nearly double what it takes to get into the high in sugar bracket, guys, per 100 grams. So for every 100 grams you're eating, a quarter of it is sugar, essentially. Yeah. We think about it that way. Everything you're eating in fruit and fiber, a quarter of it is sugar. Which is pretty surprising for again what seems to be a really healthy sort of breakfast choice on the surface. Right, guys, right. So let's have a look. We've done sugar, we'll do fat next then. So fat, let's have a look. Per 100 grams again, fat, 6 grams. So fat would fall into here, yeah, 6 grams. So, you know, we're double the minimum to get into that bracket, but we're nowhere near the top end, yeah. But same again, this would be an orange, yeah. So if we go back to this slide here, so we'd have sugars would be red, fat would be orange. Let's do the rest, yeah. So saturates. So per 100 grams, saturated fats, 3.5 grams, yeah. Saturated fat would be in there. Yeah, it would fall in here. Somewhere in here between the 1.5 and the 5 grams. So we've got another amber. Yeah, so we've got a red, an amber, and an amber. So far, no greens. What about salt? Let's have a look at salt. So salt, we've got 1 gram per 100 grams. Per 100 grams, salt fits in here again. Yeah. So in this healthy breakfast cereal, or this healthy breakfast choice, we would have 1 red in the sugars and 3 oranges. So if Kellogg's are trying to sell this as a healthy breakfast food, and they were to put their colors on there, who's still going to buy it as a healthy breakfast choice? Not many people. They'd lose a lot of money. That's why they don't put it on there. You've got to figure that out for yourself, you know, which puts a lot of responsibility on us. you know, being able to interpret the figures that they throw out there. Because if we don't, it's just numbers, isn't it? It's just numbers, and we've got nothing to compare it to. And you know, we, like I say, we tend to trust the message that the producer or the manufacturer is actually trying to send out, which is not always the case, you know. So guys, a little bit eye opening there. So again, 3 oranges and a red in what is meant to be a really healthy breakfast cereal idea. And just while we're on here, guys, just to come back to the point that I made earlier about not getting much protein in, or not getting enough protein in. If we were to have this as breakfast, per 100 grams, we're only getting 8 grams, yeah? Per 40 gram serving, only getting 3.2 grams. That's like an egg, yeah? That's like 1 egg worth of protein. So rather than getting 30 grams of protein at breakfast, if that might be what you need, you're getting a tenth of that, yeah? You're getting 3 grams of protein, you know? So again, not really much to do with reading the food label side of things, but again, just a little bit of an indicator as how it's so easy to be not getting enough protein in your diet, you know, because like I say, this is kind of seen as a healthy or a good breakfast idea. And even then, it's not delivering anywhere near the protein that your body actually needs. Not to mention, like we say, being high in sugar and medium in the other 3 as well, guys, you know. Again, if you were just aware what's in it and it is high in sugar, maybe you would only have it in moderation every now and then. But again, the fact that we would be led to believe that this is a healthy choice, you might have it every morning. You know, get to the end of the week, oh, I've eaten really well this week. Why has the scales gone up and not down? It's because you eat a load of sugar for breakfast every day, but the company is sending it out in a box that's got fruit. You know, and you know, appealing packaging styles and stuff like that. So yeah, guys, just a little example of why we've got to be wary when we're out there, you know. Right, guys, let's have a look at another one. So yeah, we'll come back to that one. Right, guys, so we've got pop chips. Pop chips here, they look healthy, you know, and I know the pop chips are sold as like a healthier option. In as opposed to like fried crisps and like your typical sort of crisps and stuff like that. Of course, there's loads of green on there. You know, it's meant to look like sort of healthy, and like I say, it's like a better option than your regular sort of crisps. Because if we look here, again, we've got no colours. So let's break it down, guys. What have we got? So again, we don't need per 17-gram bag. That's handy to know because hopefully you only have 1 bag and it's nice to know what you've had. You know, in this case, 1 bag is 6 servings. Yeah. So you don't want to eat full 17 grams all in one go. You want to eat 6 of it. Yeah. Okay, guys. So no colors. So let's have a look at what we've got. So we'll do fat because it's the first one here. So per 100 grams again. Remember, yeah. Fat, 2.8 grams. So fat is actually there. Yeah. So we're in low. We've made it into low just. Yeah, we're on 2.8. And the bracket is 3. The cutoff is 3. Yeah. So it's just saying there. And what I did notice as well with the old Heinz beans, once upon a time, the sugar used to be a good bit higher, so it would either be in amber or red. But they've actually made changes to the recipe, so they now sit at I think it's 4 point. It's where? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. It's 4.7. Yeah, 4.7 grams of sugar now. Per 100 grams in baked beans, which is why it just fits under there, yeah? So with this one, we've got fat, 2.8. We can see that fat, anything under 3 is considered low. So that would be green, yeah? Saturated fats, 0.3. Really good. Anything under there, 0.3, yeah? Happy days. Sugars, 0.7. Hang on, sorry, I'm using the wrong column there. Yeah, I'm using the wrong column. So what we've got, I'll start again. So we've got fat per 100 grams. Fat, we've actually got 17. Yeah, so fat, we fit into here. Yeah. Yeah, cool. So fat would fit into there. So we've got a medium first. Yeah, my bad, guys. Okay, saturated. That just shows you how easy it is to get it mixed up. Look at this here. It's got per 100 grams, which is what I was using. Thinking this was per 100 grams, and then you see that up above. So it's like very, very sneaky there, actually. Very sneaky. That's per 17 grams, whereas this would lead you to believe that it's per 100 grams. But if we use these columns here just to be sure, yeah, we can see that fat, 17 grams, would drop us into there and a lot closer towards the high end of 20 rather than being the low end of 3. So yeah, fat would be orange. What about saturated? So saturated fats, 2 grams. It's more than 1.5, so it would fit in there. So we'd have another orange. So again, the first two would be orange. Sugars, 4 grams. So sugar, we would be in low, but just about. And salt is 1.8, so it's actually high in salt. Yeah, so we'd have 2 ambers, we'd have a green and a red, which again doesn't look as healthy as they'd like you to believe just looking at the packaging. And to be fair, sometimes the price, they'll put stuff that's meant to be healthy or looks healthy, they'll make more expensive, and you'll buy because you think it's healthy when really it's not. You've paid extra for essentially the same junk, that you could have got elsewhere from a different brand. So yeah, really, really sneaky some of the things that they pulled, and the fact where, like I say, guys, that even caught me out there. So it just shows you how on the ball we need to be. Okay, guys. So I actually I've not done this before. I get the feeling I know what the answers are going to be, but we actually got treated ourselves and got ourselves a little jar of Nutella the other week. Now, it's not something that we have very often, and we're about to get an idea why it isn't something that we have very often. But I thought, just out of curiosity, because this was something, I don't know if you guys can remember, but hazelnut spread, Nutella, chocolate spread, whatever you want to call it, once upon a time, I remember TV adverts claiming that it was a good breakfast for kids, chocolate spread on toast, because it was sugar that was going to get them through the day. Right. They put an end to that. Because essentially selling chocolate as a breakfast idea, even that doesn't fly, even with all the different loopholes that these companies find a way around. That advert marketing for kids, that got shut down. But let's have a look and see just how bad Nutella actually is. So per 100 grams, I'm going to do sugar last. So per 100 grams, we'll do fat first. So per 100 grams of fat, 30.9. Yeah, so we're well over what it would take to be high in fat. Yeah. Saturated fat, 10.6 per 100 grams. So saturated fats is over double what it takes to get into the high bracket. Yeah. Salt, 0.1. Trace, really, isn't it? You wouldn't expect to find much salt in chocolate spread. You wouldn't have thought. Right, guys, let's do the big one then. Let's do the big one. So, sugar per 100 grams, 56.3, and it takes 15 to class as high in sugar. So what's that? It's over 3 times as much sugar as it takes to fit into the high bracket. That is essentially, again, per 100 grams, 56 grams of it is sugar. Yeah. So every spoonful you have, half of it is just straight up sugar, guys. So again, that sheds a little bit more light on why it is something that should be had in moderation and every now and then, and like I say, it should be called sugar spread rather than hazelnut spread, because like I say, there's a lot more sugar in there than there is anything else, really, guys. So yeah, just like I say, a little bit of a trial run. I knew it was going to be high. I didn't know it was going to be that high. But like I say, that's what these tests are for. That's why we do these things, you know. So it is nice to get a little bit of an idea what is in, especially like I say, a food that was once upon a time marketed to kids. I know that when Lucozade first came out back in the day, it was sold as like an athlete's drink and like a sports drink, which it can still be used as today. But how often how easy is it, sorry, to just buy a litre bottle of Lucozade when you're at the shops or with a meal deal or something like that? You don't need that much sugar when you're not exercising and when you're not active, and that's quite active as well, you know. So yeah, there's a time and a place for these things, you know. Like I say, I would maybe have a slice of chocolate spread on toast or something before I exercise or before I train, because I know I'm going to use them sugars. But I know I'm going to need to do a lot to burn off 50 grams of sugar as well. So it's weighing up the choices. But again, if you think that's a healthy thing, you're not going to weigh up the choices. You're going to probably end up having it every day and then wonder why your health's starting to suffer because of it, you know. So yeah, guys, just a little bit of an example there of things to watch out for as well. And before we wrap up for the day, guys, I did want to look at kind of the color chart working in reverse. Like I say, we've talked about products that are trying to look healthy, that kind of don't want you to know what the colors would be. You know, if we look at the traffic chart, this isn't all greens. It's not healthy, but they've quite happily put it on there. Now, to me, I would say that is probably because just looking at the product, you'd probably make your own mind up that it was quite unhealthy. You know, probably going to be quite fatty, going to be quite greasy. We've got what, spicy barbecue, pulled pork, and wedges as well. Yeah, so your mind might automatically jump to, oh, that's going to be all reds. That'll stay away from that. Whereas we can see that we've got saturated fats, which are the ones to really watch out for, is actually green. So it's no wonder that they wanted to put that on there. It's like, hey guys, look, we're not the healthiest thing out there, but in terms of saturated fats, we're definitely not as bad as you think we might be. You know, in terms of sugars and salt, we might not be as bad as you think that we are. In fact, the only thing that is probably as high as you would expect it to be is fat, you know? So again, like I say, just kind of working in reverse. It's interesting to see a product that isn't all greens and isn't, like I say, healthy, being just honest and saying, right, this is what's going on. But again, that's probably a marketing thing for sales, because if it didn't and people didn't know how to make the right decisions, you'd look at it and probably assume the worst, you know. So they're well aware of what the packaging looks like, and then they're thinking about, okay, what's the audience's interpretation going to be? Do we need to give them this information to reassure them, or do we not give them the information to sort of all smoke and mirrors and let them think it's healthy when it's not? Just before we do move on and start to kind of wrap up for the day, guys, we've got a little interesting one just in case you ever come across it. So when you see the ingredients list, like we've got here, it always goes most to least. So whatever the first ingredient is what is most prevalent in that dish or in that meal. So we can see that what we've got the most of in there is water, then potato, then pulled pork, then we can see red onion. Whereas if we come down the other end, we can see that there's probably less and less of these as we go down the line, and then garlic powder is the least that is in there. Yeah, so whatever you see first is what makes up, or what is sort of the most prevalent in the recipe, and what is last is sort of like the least prevalent as well. So yeah, it's just handy to have a look through and sort of pick out different ingredients. You know, is it at the high end, is it at the low end, and just be a little bit wary of that as well, guys. Just in case you did want another go at working through one of these by yourselves, I'm just going to leave this screen up on here for a second, just in case you did want to say, right, I'm going to pause it there. I'm going to take a little bit of time and see how these Roysters bubble chips would look in terms of colouring, where they compare to the pop chips maybe. Like I say, that is, if you just want a little bit of practice using this colour chart, then we can do that there. Of course, good chance to pause it if you want to as well. All I'm going to do now kind of is just sort of wrap up for the day. And like I say, I just mentioned moving over to that fitness video as well. Like I say, get a little bit of a stretch, get you moving, and get us off to a good start and wrap up the end of week one, I guess, really, guys. So we've got no coursework or no workbooks that need doing throughout the course. The only thing that I'm going to ask you to do each week is the survey, because like I say, it's key feedback for us. It helps us fill in paperwork on your behalf, and at the same time, like I say, your feedback's really important to us as well, guys. Okay, so yeah, we'll about wrap up there then, guys. So like I say, we've got a little fitness video, and the link is in the description. And in fact, I'll see if I can copy and paste that across. Don't know whether YouTube will let us do that or not. In fact, I'll just type it. So I'll put that in the live chat as well, guys, just in case you need it. There we go, guys. Just if you need it, if you've got any questions, of course, if you've already been enrolled on the course, you'll have my email from where I've sent out this link for today's session. If you're joining the course a little bit later after it's already progressed, maybe you don't have that just yet. So like I say, if you need me, reach out on my email. Of course, the fitness video, like I say, is in the description just below the video as well. So yeah, we've got a little bit of a fitness video, just a nice little stretch, get you moving again. I'm going to do it myself, actually. Like I say, just loosen up a little bit, because we've got Monday, we've got a fresh week, hit the ground running, try and get active. And there's one thing I've always tried and live by when it comes to exercise and stuff like that. We're thinking about phone's playing up there. I'm trying to watch along on the stream as well. Yeah, guys. So yeah, I always used to think to myself, don't miss a Monday. Start the Monday right. If you're gonna have a rest day, pick Tuesday, pick Wednesday. Try not to miss a Monday if you can. We're gonna get active. We're gonna get moving, guys. We'll gradually make these sessions and the fitness sessions a little bit harder as they go on. Of course, if you do the stretch and you fancy something a little bit more challenging, like I say, there's a few on the Media Savvy YouTube channel as well. So by all means, go and try out some of the other ones that are on the channel as well, guys. Like I say, let me know how you get on. Of course, follow the link to the survey, and the survey will come straight back to us. You don't need to email it over or anything. It just automatically comes back, guys. So we'll call it there then, guys. Like I say, I hope you've all had a good first session. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I hope it's been insightful and that you've had something that you can take away. And hopefully, we're feeling a little bit more confident in making food choices. Again, there is going to come a time when we want to fit in some of the naughty stuff. Okay, it could be, you're going to an event. It could be a wedding, a party. There's going to be a buffet, whatever it is. We can't always eat the way that we like to. Other stuff comes up. There's something we can talk about in the future as well, when we're talking about like different barriers to healthy eating and stuff like that, like events and stuff like that. But yeah, like I say, understanding how unhealthy something actually is gives us an idea how often we can get away with having it and how much we should be having, like I say, and it can be a good way of, lifting the curtain on some foods that are trying to pretend that they are healthy when they're not really, guys. So yeah, plenty to be thinking about. Like I say, try and keep that chart that we looked at. Try and keep it on hand. Try and keep it somewhere handy. Print it off, keep it in your purse, your bag, your wallet, screenshot it on your phone, whatever it might be. Because like I say, for the time being, it'll be your best friend in helping you pick healthy foods and stuff like that. Yeah. Cool, guys. Right. So we will leave it there then. Like I say, please don't forget to complete that survey. Links in the description. And don't forget to check out the fitness video. And we'll be back next Monday, guys. Same time, 10 till 12ish. And we'll keep the ball rolling, and we will hit. In fact, let's just have a look at what we are looking at next week, shall we? Next week, guys, we will be looking at a little bit of fitness equipment. Yeah, so different kit that you might have come across in a gym before. Maybe it's in a class. Maybe you've had a look online and you've thought to yourself, look, I'd like to treat myself to a couple of bits of kit at home. I don't know what's right for me. I don't know what's going to be most affordable. I don't know what's going to be sort of beneficial to my fitness goals. So we'll get a little bit of a look at that next week. Like I say, talking about different bits of kit, what we can use, how we can use it, how we use it safely as well. and of course the proper names for all of them as well. Just get you a little bit more familiar. Maybe you're thinking about going back to the gym or joining a gym post COVID, and you'd like to try a couple of different bits of kit when you get there. Maybe you're tired of exercising at home and just using your body weight and the odd resistance band or whatever, or maybe you're realizing, look, I'm in no rush to go back to the gym or fitness classes or whatever it might be. I want to do a little bit in the house. I'm going to have a look and see what bits of kit is affordable, not going to take up much space, and will actually work for me. Talking maybe your skipping ropes, your cones, your medicine balls, whatever it might be. So plenty of different kit to look at next week, lots to look forward to, and then like I say, we'll keep this ball rolling, yeah, guys. Cool, right, guys. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Like I say, if you need me in the meantime, you've got my email. And of course, if you need to, just go through Media Savvy and it'll all get back to me anyway. And we will be back next Monday, guys, same time, and we'll be ready to go. Like I say, if you need anything in the meantime, you know where I'm at, guys. Until then, stay safe, look after yourself and those around you. Have a good week, and I will be back, and I'll see you guys next Monday. Cool. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you've had a good first session. I'll see you this time next week. Take care, guys. Bye. Good boy. Bum, 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 bum.